Have I got a deck for you today? It blew my hive mind how well this performed. We have a plan A and a plan B in this deck and both worked perfectly in harmony, so sit back and enjoy this one. Hey everyone, Hex here, and I literally cannot wait to show you this one today. As always though, if you could be so kind as to like and subscribe below, I really appreciate all the support that this channel gets. Anyway, I couldn't be more excited to share the Skeleton Sliver deck with you today. So the combo is with Thrumming Hivepool and Leyline of Transformation. The Hivepool gives all slivers double strike and haste. You also create two 1/1 slivers in your upkeep. It also has affinity for slivers, so it can be played on the cheap. Now, there are no slivers in standard, so what do? Well, Leyline of Transformation is what we do. This can start on the battlefield, and I will take one mulligan to find it, but all creatures are the chosen type when this ETBs, and you are going to choose slivers. So now all your creatures are slivers with double strike and haste. Okay then, hold on, how is this relevant? Well, we have skeletons today, lots and lots of skeleton slivers. On their own, the skeleton deck is still pretty strong, but give them double strike and haste, and wow. Skeleton wise, I'm running cheap ones in Forsaken Miner, Tinybones and Scrabble in Skullcrab. These fuel our sliver affinity with our leyline on the battlefield. Skullsnap Nuisance, case the stash skeleton, our other skeletons, and don't count out a solved case. It did win me a fair few games today finding our plan B, which is today Corpses of the Lost. This one gives all skeletons +1/+0 and haste. It also creates a 2/2 token, and if you descend, where a permanent card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, you can pay a life to put it back into your hand to play the next turn. I've got Phantom Interference and Shoot the Sheriff for some interaction, 23 lands, and that is the deck. Trust me, you're going to want to watch this, you're going to want to play this and show all your friends because this deck is wild. Anyway, sit back and enjoy the 5 games that I played with this deck today. Alright, on the draw, we have our leyline. We certainly do. So yeah, we'll name Sliver and we'll move on with our life. We do need our Hivepool, but we've got some cheap creatures to try and until we can do that. Tinybones here. Okay. Tinybones predominantly to fuel the sliver strategies for our affinity within our Hivepool. Opponent with the swamp. And Stalactite Stalker, okay. Not a card I've seen for a while, but fair enough. So yeah, it's going to get a counter because they use their Fable. We'll play our Soured Springs here. Apologies if you can hear anything in the background. The leaf blowers are going around our property. Overlord of the Flood Pits, okay. Sure, so we are trying to find our Hivepool as quick as possible. Because they start... there it is. Okay, our land comes in tap, so let's play our case just to create another skeleton. Next turn we'll be able to play this Hivepool, so I'm not going to waste my creatures now by attacking. Fabled Passage for our opponent, so that's going to trigger the Descend on the Stalker. So they're building up a fair bit of stats onto this Stalactite Stalker. Cruel Somnophage, okay, they're going to mill some more cards. What you got, opponent? Bitter Triumph on the Tinybones, okay. Maybe that's they're scared to attack with the Tinybones on the battlefield, but neither of our creatures can block, especially as their creature has menace. Another leyline isn't great, but unfortunately by them killing my creature, we can't play the Hivepool here. What we can do is play Corpses and attack the opponent down to 9. I do like Corpses of the Lost. Mind Whisker, okay, and a Cruel Somnophage for our opponent. Please attack. They do not. Okay, well that's the swamp, so we'll play our Tinybones here. drop this Hive Lord, and we'll just check to see what damage we've got. Let's just attack. I think we can just attack with everything. They've got to do some really awkward blocks. They're only on 9 life, so we'll see where we stand after a full send, I think. What are they doing? Why are they not blocking with their 3-2? They're going to go down to a 1 here. Okay. So we've got lethal next turn because our Hivepool is going to also create 2 1/1 double strikers. Fable for them. They are going to have their Overlord, but they're going to take at least 1 damage, and that is Matsalantli, which is a way for them to filter through their deck, but they are just attacking because they know they're already dead, and that is a great victory for this deck. Alright, on the draw. Okay, I don't hate this hand. We don't have our Leyline here, but we do have an awful lot of skeletons. Opponent with the planes. So I love combo decks that have 2 ways to win. I think it's so important. A lot of combo decks don't. I would say this is a combo deck. We're trying to combo with our Hivepool and our Leyline in a way that isn't like normal. I wonder if we're going to get Slivers in the future though. Opponent with Cloud, okay. So we have a lot of cheap creatures here. We'll play Tinybones. We could have played our Case there, but our mana isn't particularly great. Alright, Grand Abolisher for our opponent. And we find a Swamp, which is pretty nice. So I think we'll just play a Miner and we'll go and destroy Cloud. Join your spell, opponent, join your turn, opponents can't do things, okay. So I think we'll just shoot Cloud while we can. Oh, hold up. Why can't we do that? Oh, Cloud's a mercenary. Okay. I mean, that's the downside of Shoot the Sheriff, but it's not often that actually happens. Mercenaries are outlaws. Okay, fair enough. We'll save the shoot for something else. I'm not going to kill that Abolisher. We'll get a suspected skeleton on board anyway. And do we attack with Tinybones? Gonna hold it back. And a Buster Sword, okay. No attacks for the opponent. Another Case for us. Alright, well, Corpses are lost. I think this is one of my favourite cards. It can only be played in this kind of deck, but look at this for an attack. And don't want to lose my Tinybones. So let's get in there with everything else. You've got to be aggressive here. No one ever blocks. They're down to 7. I don't think people respect the corpses, they don't respect the Leyline, and they don't respect their Hivepool. I am going to block Cloud though with my Tinybones. They do have something. Divine Resilience. Okay, they're going to give it Indestructible, whatever. I think we're going to have lethal here though. We're going to play our Case. It's going to create another 2/2 skeleton. We can shoot that Abolisher. We can just jump in with our team. This was a classic Plan B win. Yeah, there we go. Classic Plan B skeleton win. I really enjoyed that one. Alright, on the play. There's our Leyline again, which is pretty nice. I'm normally unlucky, but like I said, if you don't have it in your opening hand, a skeleton win is feasible. And it's pretty strong as well. Because skeletons are still in standard, if anyone didn't realise, but we'll put this on the battlefield and name Sliver. Alright, and here's a Forsaken. Oh, yeah, we'll play the Forsaken Miner. We do have a Skull Crab, which is an 0/3. It mills when an enchantment enters the battlefield. It's there to reduce the cost of our Hivepool. It's also a small blocker early on. Wow, and there is our Hivepool. Okay. So we'll play the Skull Crab, we'll play the Skeleton, or the case of the Stash Skeleton. This is going to trigger the Skull Crab as well. And I guess we'll just mill them. Maybe you just want to mill yourself in case they have any graveyard strategies. But I'm getting a little bit excited here because we have a 2-mana Hivepool in our hand. This could be a quick game. Or not. Exile target attacking creature. Okay. But that does solve our... No, it doesn't. It's the wrong creature. But they should have killed our miner there. Banishing Light here. Oh, they want to probably banish my Leyline if they can. They're hovering over it. They have no idea what's going on here. Well, they've gone for the miner. Okay, I can deal with that. Alright, well, we can't unfortunately pay the Hivepool now. And they exiled our creature. Let's whack them with the Skull Crab to show them who's boss. But next turn we can play the Hivepool as long as our creatures survive. And it looks like they will. Claim territory to ramp. I mean, I'm expecting some massive creatures soon, so... Alright, deck, let's not flood out here. Let's play this Thrumming Hivepool. 4 damage to our opponent. Fortunately, the Skull Crab can't attack. You want Corpses of the Lost, and then you can get in there with some Skull Crab action. Another Banishing Light, okay. Wow, they went for the creature. Let's shoot the Sheriff. Okay, well, they're down to 7. They're not respecting my Leyline or my Hivepool here. Alright, well, we can solve our case, and then next turn, we can look for some juice. White Aura Sight. Okay, so they've gone for another exile effect. Oh, they've gone for the Hivepool, fair enough. And land. Alright, so let's solve our case. And let's look for our Corpse of the Lost. So this is going to present lethal here. Our Skull Crab even gets some stats here, so that's going to be able to attack. So we're just trying to find a way to get that last 5 damage. This is a lethal attack. What do they have? Not on my watch. GG's from the opponent. Are they GGing me, or are they GGing because they're confident they're going to win here? 7 mana for Ugin. Okay. I don't think this is going to work the way that they want it to work. They're going to gain 3 life from Ugin. But our Corpse of the Lost is going to do at least 5 damage on the board. I wonder if they GG'd me thinking that they were going to win here. Now they've got an Ugin on the battlefield. I hope not. Gain 3 life, draw a card. We're up to 5, but we have our Corpse in our hand, so we're presenting lethal. And yeah, the deck does it again. Unbelievable. Alright, on the draw, 2 Leylines, an Interference, and Corpse. I don't really want 2 in my hand. I think I might mulligan this one. What's the point of having 2? I mean, if we can get to Corpse of the Lost, that'll be good. But we just need some cheap creatures. I think this is going to be a mulligan here. Okay, we get a Leyline anyway. And the Hivepool, okay. Okay. Please don't hate me for drawing this card so much. My stats are all going to be on untapped.gg here, if you'd like to look at them. You're doing pretty well with this deck. Well, off camera I was. Alright, opponent. They see the word sliver. They have a chocobo, they have a giant cactuar. They have an Oars of Land. I was expecting a forest there, to be honest. Okay, Miner is pretty cool. Let's jam some creatures down and try and get this Hivepool down as quick as possible. We're very good at emptying our hand. If you want to make this deck, feel free to add some card draw. I just don't think we have space for that. We have to take up 8 cards just with our combo. And we have to play blue as well, which is why this Nuisance is in the deck. World map for our opponent, so they're going to look for a land and put it into their hand, is it? Yeah, so this is giving us a chance to get some stuff on the board. But they are in Alls of Colours, so I'm kind of expecting my creatures aren't going to last very long. Let's drop this Nuisance and get in there for 2. Okay, slow start for our opponent though. I guess the world map does help when you're off green to try and find some lands and kind of pseudo ramp. And it's a plains. Okay, they had a really good think about that one. They're looking at my Nuisance. I know they're wondering what's going on. These are 2 very strange creatures to have on the battlefield. Starscape Cleric. Okay, that automatically gives it away that there's some kind of Lifegain deck. But we'll play this Miner. Still can't play the Hivepool, but the Cleric doesn't block, so we can get him down to 16 here. Okay, and it's Roaming Throne. Okay. Didn't expect to see that. They named Bat. To be honest, Roaming Throne, I forgot, was in Standard. It was my favourite card for months. Maybe I'll relook at that. Maybe that could go in this deck. But we get a chance now to Hivepool. And I'm just going to swing. I doubt they're going to block with their Throne. It will die. Nope. They're going down to 6. Okay. This deck is wild. Opponent is not understanding what is going on. There's Zoraline. Okay. Sure. So the Throne is doubling triggers for the bats. Oh, please attack with that Roaming Throne. No. There's going to be a lot of triggers here. Well, they're going to gain a lot of life. What? 2 life up to 8. They are pinging us. There's a Phantom Interference. It's our counter spell of choice. At this point in the game, it doesn't matter too much. So they block the 2 highest creatures, and they're going to take 6. They're going to go down to 2. So we'll just attack. They're going to lose their Throne and their Zoraline here. Well, they're blocking my Nuisance, so this is going to be a lethal attack. They need to block the Miners, both of them. Okay, this is 8 damage. Unbelievable. I wonder if they saw the double strike. Well, I don't really care. We got the victory. Alright, on the play, we have our Leyline in our opening hand. As per, I'm kind of unlucky, but I'm pretty lucky at getting that. We do have a real solid plan B in this deck, so I'm not too concerned if we don't draw that. But let's name Sliver. Let's confuse our opponent. There are no Slivers in Standard, I am aware of. There were some changelings though. But we'll drop this Miner, and then next turn we're probably going to go for Case of the Stashed Skeleton. Don't overlook that card. Once your suspected skeleton dies, you get to basically tutor in your deck for any card, and in our card we've got some very specific ones. Opponent with a Healer's Hawk, so suggesting a Lifegain deck there. And yep, they're white-red, which is not what I expected. I expected another white land. They're hovering over our cards, maybe a Helix. Chainsaw, okay, that's going to do 3 damage to something, and they've gone for our Forsaken Miner, sure. Okay. Well, there's not much going on here. So we'll just play our land tapped and hit our opponent down to 17. Knowing that we have quite a few good top decks in our deck here. Aerith Gainsborough, lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on it. When it dies, put X +1/+1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Aerith. So much text, but basically it's a 2/2. Let's get rid of that anyway. So pretty slow for us as we draw another land. Okay, well, let's just get in there. Kind of frustrating that. Made me a little bit sad actually drawing a land there. So let me know if there's any decks in Standard that you want to see. Any cards you like. I'll try and build around it. I really enjoyed my last video where we made the Bygone Colossus get in there for 24 damage. It's a real kind of janky deck. I guess this is kind of janky, but on the good side of jank. Oh, there's our Corpses of the Lost. Okay, so this is going to make a 2/2. +1/+0 to all skeletons. And don't forget, all of our creatures are skeletons with our Leyline on the battlefield. Just need our Hivepool to give everything double strike and start making slivers. A second Leyline on the battlefield, you probably could just name Skeleton so that your slivers are also skeletons. They can get an extra +1/+0. Hard Light Containment is going to take out our Forsaken Miner. Sure, we're down to 11. I mean, this Healer's Hawk is annoying because it's totting up their life total a little bit. Not much more we can do here except for play a Nuisance. Attack our opponent. Solve our case. And next turn, we'll see what we need. It might be the Hivepool. It might be another Corpses of the Lost. They are lacking creatures, which is nice for us. And they're getting in there with their flyer. Okay, so they're back up to 14. There's a Nuisance. That is going to get haste this turn if we want. But we do have 6 mana. Solving the case. Well, it's already solved. But paying for the case is going to be 2 mana. And then our Hivepool is going to be 4 mana. So unfortunately we can't do everything here. But we are going for our Thrumming Hivepool. We're going to drop that. Our creatures all now have double strike. And I guess we just... I mean, we could hold our 2/4 back, but what's the point? Let's just swing. So they lose their Frenzied Goblin. And they go down to 10. We get to put our corpses back into our hand. We get to drop that again next turn. They get in there again. We go down to 3. They're up to 14. I mean, it's kind of scary where we are right now. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think we have lethal here. Unless they've got any interaction. I guess we can just pay for this. I did my math instead of having the Forsaken Miner on the battlefield, and I'm pretty sure that was lethal anyway. Certainly don't want a Leyline. We'll drop that into our grave. Play our Nuisance, which is another creature that's going to have haste. Yep, we did have lethal. That's a really good victory. I'm really proud of myself for that one. Just want to thank you for watching. Please give the video a like and subscribe below. Bye.